Let me put my sunglasses on because it's time for another Saturday night tech fight. So, let's see. We already got about 13 people here in the chat. I see we got some heavy hitters in here tonight. Kevin the Tech Ninja is here. Dan Gage, Lethal Emperor, Gadget Goddess, the usual suspects are all here. So, guys, I know we're starting a few minutes early, but we're going to go ahead and get it kicked off and get it going. So, welcome to another edition of Saturday Night Tech Fights. Now, if you guys have not been here before, I want to welcome you to your first fight, and I hope you enjoy the show and enjoy what you see. Here, we're going to debate about tech, and we're going to have a lot of fun doing it. So, I got 3 judges for you guys, as I always do, and I got 2 competitors for you guys. Now, this time, we have 2 brand new competitors that have not been on yet, but I think they're going to make their mark tonight. I think they're going to make their mark, and I'm ready to see what they got. So I'm going to bring my judges in first before I bring the competitors in. So I'm going to go ahead and start off with a contender that you guys have seen many times before. You've seen him on the side of the judge's chair, and you've seen him in the ring battling it out. He's taking people toe-to-toe. He's mercilessly dragged somebody through a fight for no reason. He's victimized people. He bullies children. I'm going to bring in the man they call Tech Rant, a.k.a. Trent Marshall. What's going on, man?
You got me with the bullies children part.
Man. Also, before I bring in the next judge, I want to say this. There was an intro for this that I was trying to queue up to play before we got started, and I jacked it up. Tanner So Lit made it for me, but the next fight that we have, I'm going to have it set up and I'm going to have it made. So we'll play it at the end of the fight so that you guys can hear it so you can get a sneak peek. But I'm going to bring in my next judge. Now, this guy here, you guys know him. He's a hype beast. He's a savage. He's the stream king. He'll pop a stream off in 5 seconds if he feels like it. He's the man about tech. He's the captain of Team Apple. He's the retiree that is coming back to judge this fight. Ladies and gentlemen, the man about tech, Mr. Viper himself. Welcome in, sir.
What's up, people? What's up, baby? We are live.
There he is. Now, the next judge. Now, this guy here. Now, I got to give him a good intro because this guy here, he kicked off the tech fights. He literally kept getting back in the ring when they kept telling him to throw the towel in, but he just wouldn't give up. He's going to get some heavy hitters. He took on the John Prosser himself and talked himself out of the W. You guys know who I'm talking about. The armchair YouTuber, LeBaron Burton Sr. Welcome, sir. Welcome.
What's up, people? What's good?
First time. I got 2 first-time judges tonight. This should be amazing. This should be so much fun to see what you guys do in the judges' seat, being on the opposite end of the ring. But Viper's over there in the Matrix.
God damn.
I saw Viper was in the Matrix. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring in the first challenger of the night. Now, I'm gonna bring my man in first because I've been watching this dude for a minute. I called him on the stream a while back with technically T and a few other people. Now, he's one of the most chill, well-spoken, just well-knowledgeable people you'll find when it comes to tech. But at the same time, I believe he's got it in him, and I've seen it in him. He'll lay that smackdown on you if necessary. Now, this guy is from across the pond. He's the host of the Tech and Chill stream. I'm bringing in my man, Ben, the lover of tech. How's it going, man?
Yo, what's good, everyone? This should be fun. Should be fun. I'm looking forward to it, man. What's popping?
Yes.
What time is it there?
It is, as of now, 5 minutes past 2 a.m. the next day. So technically, I'm 5 hours into the future. So if you want to see what happens ahead in your life, come and talk to me. You know.
Do you guys hear this? It's 2 a.m. Dedication. I love it. 2 a.m., man. Thank you, sir, for being here.
Well, good, man. Pleasure.
Now I got to bring in his opponent.
Ooh.
Now, his opponent is a part of the Technically Speaking crew. This guy, I've seen case videos, I've seen reviews. His audio is always crispy. That's one of the reasons I love watching him. He's got one of my favorite things in the whole entire world, an Infinity Gauntlet. So you need to watch your back because he might snap you out if he's not satisfied with the ruling tonight. He's on Twitter. He's in those YouTube and Twitter streets, but he's one of the nicest people that I've come across in these YouTube and Twitter streets. So I'm curious and I'm ready to see what kind of a savage comes out tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Scott Peachey.
What's going on, everybody? I am ready. I feel like I'm at a disadvantage already. Have you listened to Ben talk? My God, I'm going to tell you what. Whew, that accent just got me chills. I got to make sure I keep my pants on. I'm going to tell you.
All right, let me see. I'm gonna kind of do a little shuffling here real quick.
For real, Ben, like I said, just let me get through that first round, baby.
Listen,
Let me get through that first round.
I'm taking no prisoners, man. I don't trust none of you guys. You guys are all on the same side of the same country. I've seen some weird collusions potentially happening, man. So I'm taking it all. No prisoners, no mercy.
I am failing at this because I'm trying to put myself at the bottom.
Yo, in this Hollywood Square, what are we doing, baby? What are we
I'm
doing,
trying to
Mike?
put myself at the bottom, but I'm gonna leave it alone.
Am I pointing at Viper right now? I feel like I am.
Yes,
man.
you are.
Then Ben's
Yeah,
right
you're
above
fine.
me.
All right, let me see. Hold on.
no.
We're gonna get this right. We're
Take
playing
it.
Hollywood Squares for a second.
LB's right there.
Peachy!
I'm gonna start shuffling.
Goddamn musical chairs, Mike.
Huh?
The goddamn musical chairs.
It's fine.
You need to be playing some music while you switching this around.
You know what? If I could play it at the same time, I should just play it off my phone. I should just play the intro while I'm doing this. But I'm gonna keep on going. We're gonna keep on going. So the fight of tonight. Didn't mean for that to rhyme, but it sounds good. Tonight's fight is going to be about smartphones of the last decade and beyond. Now, for those of y'all that don't know, the contenders have already seen the questions. They've had time to prepare their notes. So when I say smartphones of the last decade and beyond, I'm going to explain what that means. I'm talking about various things from specs to form factor to accessories go along with smartphones, talking about anything and everything about smartphones from the last decade going into the next decade. And I got some very specific questions for these two gentlemen that I think they're going to really hit home on. So the way it's going to work is this. Both contenders will have, let me move this piece of hair out of my face. There we go. Both contenders will have 2.5 minutes apiece to debate their side of the argument. Once they're done, they will have 5 minutes total to debate each other in a free-for-all. Judges, your responsibility will be to choose one person at the end of the round. You will not give any reasons as to why you chose them until the end of the fight. AKA LeBaron, don't talk. Just say a name and be done with it.
But why I gotta be pointed out?
Because you talk.
I mean,
so with that said,
Say your name.
So with that said, here's the catch. There is a knockdown rule. Now, a knockdown rule will come in the form of all three judges choosing one person's side of the argument. If that should occur, there are 2 bonus questions for 2 knockdowns. Gentlemen, hopefully it doesn't get to that point, but if it does, you guys will have 1 question apiece to save yourselves. If you are brought back into the fight, you will be given 1 point as a saving grace. So, with that being said, if anybody has any questions, now's the time. Otherwise, I'm finna hit this timer and we're gonna get started.
Yo, is he allowed to judge from the minivan, though? What's going on, LeBaron? What you doing there, bro? Come on, man.
I don't own a minivan, sir.
Here we go again. Come on, man. All right, let's go.
All right.
We need the referee from Celebrity Deathmatch. Let's get it on.
I see everybody of course, I knew everybody in the chat was going to be talking about where the fighters should be at. See, I tried to play musical chairs and y'all didn't like it. You know what? I'm gonna leave it alone because it's not even gonna matter here in a second. So, with that said, this is how we're gonna choose the first fighter. I got a coin here. It's a penny. It's the only coin I can find at the time. I'm gonna flip it.
Wow.
Scott, what you call?
Heads.
It was tails. So Ben will go first.
Cool.
So, with Ben going first, I got my timer back here. I will get my timer set up here. So Ben, you're gonna have 2.5 minutes. I'll bring it up here for everybody to see, so everybody knows I'm not playing. And your first question, you will choose what your side of the argument. Did the introduction of biometrics in smartphones help us or hurt us? Which side of the argument are you going to choose?
Help us.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew you'd do that.
With that said, sir, you have 2.5 minutes and your time starts now.
I mean, if we look at the start of the whole biometric fingerprint scanning, I think the first one that really took that off was iPhone 5S. So iPhone 5S was first phone from Apple, A7 chip. And I think what it really brought to the table was convenience, right? I think what it really drives home is the fact that we're really creatures of convenience, and it added that level of, you know, a speedy experience to be able to unlock your phone, to have that, you know, instantaneous access to what you needed to have in terms of, you know, going into your phone and kind of bypassing the need to have to always put in a password, right? Because the reason why we have these devices known as smartphones is because they need to be smart. They need to adapt to kind of like the needs that we need, and it actually needs to help by maintaining that level of security, but also adding that layer of security as well as convenience, right? So I think the progression of how it's gone through from not just unlocking your phone, but integrating into things like, you know, your password manager with things like LastPass or Apple Keychain, or in this case, Apple Pay, right? Biometrics has really helped to speed up how we use our phone on a day-to-day basis, you know? So being able to pay, you know, I'll give an example, just being able to take a train ride in the city, you know, and not having to, you know, use the card payments and whatnot, is actually more secure. So it's more secure in the sense that you need your fingerprint to be able to pay, right? So if you're ever doing like a contactless payment, right? If you've ever had the unfortunate thing of having your card stolen, for example, if your card gets stolen, people can use your card to make contactless payment based on a certain amount below, right? Without having to need any form of authentication, password or anything before you call your bank, before, you know, they block the card to say, hey, there's a reason why someone's actually been using it, right? But the benefits of having your fingerprint authentication is that extra layer. So even if, let's just say you lost your phone, right? Someone couldn't use your phone to make payments without having your fingerprint or your facial unlock in there to be able to make the payments. So that extra layer of security actually puts you in a position where if you're going through your day-to-day and you actually realize that, hey, I'm going to a place where everything I need to do in terms of making payments is completely contactless. I don't need to actually carry my card, and I support biometric fingerprint payment with either Google Pay, Samsung Pay, or Apple Pay. I'm more secure, you know. And I had a situation where there was one of the days where I forgot my wallet at home, and pretty much everything that I did around that. So I mean, the benefit of having an extra layer of security and convenience with biometric is
your time is up. Ben was about to bury.
He's about to take my 2.5.
All right, Scott, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, it is your show, sir. Go.
They have allowed us to become completely lazy, and to the point where I can have a fingerprint scanner or a face scanner. Now I don't have to remember any password at all. So how many times have we forgotten our passwords to get into our bank because we've decided to set up a brand new iPhone for over the fact that, oh, my other biometric information's over there. So it has allowed us to actually get lazy. Another big thing, and I know that I am super guilty of this, especially when it comes to Amazon. I have the ability to spend my cash more freely because all I have to do is either go, look at my phone, or put a fingerprint scanner on it and be like, I'm not really feeling swiping a card. I'm just using my finger, or I'm just using my face, and I'm paying with real money, like actual cash, but it doesn't feel like it because I'm just showing my face to the phone. And everybody talks about the biometrics and information. Let's not forget about the Pixel 3 and the Pixel 3 XL. They had drastically huge problems when it came to the fingerprint. I was one of the people that had significant issues when it came to the biometrics getting really frustrated because it wasn't picking up on my Pixel 3 and Pixel 3 XL because for whatever reason, the fingerprint scanner just decided not to work that particular time. Then I had to redo my fingerprints. So a couple of the things I want to hit on is, one, law enforcement can actually force you. It was earlier this year in 2019 where they started to make a case that where they didn't require you to actually use your fingerprint. But up until January of this year, for a court order to go into effect, law enforcement actually required you to use biometrics, thus a violation of the Fifth Amendment, where you don't actually have to give them the password to your phone. But if you have biometrics, again, let's keep in mind, Ben just mentioned the iPhone 5S, that was years ago. It was just January of 2019, and that law is still not all the way there. So biometrics actually hurts us in terms of the law enforcement because I don't have to tell a cop my password, but if I have biometric scanning set up on my device up until January of this year, and this is not all the way over, this is just a court case that's in process right now, you actually cannot get Fifth Amendment protection when you're using a fingerprint scanner or a face scanner. So that's another big one. And then lastly, I want to talk about is actually smartphone addiction. It's so easy to unlock your phone nowadays that Google has to put a well-being app. And I think Apple's doing the same. If I'm not a huge Apple person, but the idea that you have to have a wellness app that tells you how many times you unlock your phone each day. It's so easy when it comes to having a fingerprint scanner or a face scanner.
All right, Trent, are you the faceless man right now?
I got TJ going on right now.
The light skinned warrior. All right. So, judges, we'll start with.
Whoa.
Whoa.
5 minutes, Lord.
I'm about to say, what you doing, bro? What you doing?
My bad. I'm sitting up here. Sorry. Long day at work. All right, you guys got 5 minutes to go back and forth, and it starts now.
Damn, man, I'm gonna tell you.
In terms of law, you're bringing the law from a very one-dimensional mindset. America, I don't live in America, doesn't benefit me. That law means nothing here because that access to not having your biometric or not telling the law so that you can do it doesn't apply here. One, so it's null and void. You're looking at it from a perspective from just one country. Two, most of the time, if your phone ever goes off or you restart it, what pops up? A password. So even if you're in that situation, the case is null and void where you would still need your password to be able to get in.
I wouldn't say that this is just a one-sided argument for that perspective, though, that yes, the law enforcement is definitely a US thing, but actually over in the UK, you guys have GDPR, which is that general data privacy regulation, which is a really big deal. If that company has access to your biometrics, meaning whoever you give your face to, all your fingerprints to, you have by right to know exactly who are they sharing it with, what are they doing it with, what are they looking to gather from that information. I actually would think over across the pond, it's a bigger deal that you have biometrics because they could share that with people that might be in violation of the regulation. Let's not mention that UK actually fined Google and Apple several hundreds of millions of dollars for their privacy protections, and your biometric information is in there. So that's definitely one that you want to protect.
If you look at it from that perspective, right? Privacy and privacy is all relative now, right? We've given it up more for the convenience of making sure we're efficient. If you're coming back to digital well-being, do better. If you can't control the fact that you can't handle how much money you're going to be spending over and over, you should know. That's down to you. The whole idea of the experience.
What I'm saying is like the biometrics makes it.
If you look at the whole, it makes it easier because it's all about the efficiency, right? If you even put it that way, I can even argue that there's cases where biometrics actually makes it safer in terms of using your phone day to day. Now, situations where it's not necessarily condoning in terms of driving, for example, but look at what's happening with motion sense, facial ID, Face ID, as well as fingerprint unlocking. If your car's cradled up, right, the chances of you having to put in a 4-digit PIN or a 6-digit PIN to unlock your phone, it's a lot more dangerous if you're actually doing that. If you're stationary, you're driving, in case of where using your phone, if you look at it, it unlocks straight, you can see whatever you're doing on there to interact. So actually there's cases where biometric not only just helps in terms of efficiency, but it's actually safer and quicker to do certain things. The whole process is not it's not based on, you know, whether it's law having access or not, right? It's all relative. One, again, as stated, GDPR, important as it is, that particular access doesn't actually apply to, you know, your rights of them knowing or you having to give them your biometric. But the whole idea is making sure that what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, not only is it safer for things like, hey, knowing that I can leave my wallet at home, I don't have to actually worry about it being lost or someone taking it, using it. I know if I'm in a contactless situation, I've got my fingerprint or facial biometrics authentication where it's actually safer. It's that extra layer on top of what's already there with the PIN. Not only is more convenient, it's more secure, and also it adds that layer of efficiency of being able to do stuff regularly every single day. So, I mean, the cases may be considered. I want to put that as considered, but really it doesn't take away from the fact that you can't stop progress. The progress of what's happening is really to help speed it up, make it much more of an enjoyable experience, make it much more of an efficient experience, and make it much quicker day to day.
But when
You
you're
know it.
interacting, like I'm choosing to share my biometric information with Google or Apple when I'm doing that. But again, that GDPR, that data still applies. Is who are they sharing that data with? I can't promise that when I have my biometric information given to Amazon or Facebook or Instagram or whatever the other things is, who are they sharing that information with? Yes, it is more secure to get into the app, but what are they doing with your information when you're there? All of a sudden linking up folks that may look and act like you with information that meets your demographics to share biometric information to build some type of profile on you. Again, I go back to the security of it all. Biometric is just another piece of data. Now they can take that profile that they've built on you and just blow that out exponentially into creating something that where they are very explicitly targeting you because they know that you're going to be on the trolley or on a taxi and you're going to be there because that app also has information based on your linking of your profile because they have your biometric information into it.
It's all good, but I mean, what? Damn.
Y'all better respect Tech King, Don King up there. Y'all better respect his time, man. Let's go.
Nah, that was good. That was good. That was good. That was good still.
Yeah, man, that was good, bro. That was fun.
That was fun. That was fun. That was wavy.
And that was only one round, people. So,
Ooh.
Viper, who is your winner of this round?
Ooh, you going to Viper first, huh? Will I got to give it to Lubro Tech, baby.
Okay.
Whew.
Who you got?
Scott worked me, you know. Scott was working me still. Yo, Scott was working me, you know.
What you got, Trent? What you got?
I gotta go with Scott.
Scott was working me.
Man, you like, dude. Oh.
All right. LB, first time in the judge's seat along with Viper. Who you got? Don't make a mistake.
Can I go back to fighting?
You asked for this, so you gotta live with it.
Ooh.
I gotta go with Scott.
Wow.
All right.
Risky.
Oh, that are keeping score at home. It is now 2-1. Scott over Ben, which means Scott will take the lead in the next round. And the next question is: as smartphones become more powerful, is it safe to say they will replace our laptops in the coming decade? Scott, what side of the argument will you choose?
I am choosing yes, they will.
He is too happy about that. This is
I'm sorry, man. It's like I know I remember it was in the weigh-in, and I was like, I gotta take this one.
all right. So, Scott, your 2.5 minutes shall start now.
It is a known fact that smartphones have outpaced laptops and PCs basically since 2009, 2010. There's almost 2 billion smartphones in the world. Little cool known fact, the kids that are in college these days, 78% of them have a laptop in their college, but 92% of them have a smartphone. 92%. So there's a whole bunch of kids out there that they think that they can just go without a laptop in college because they can do everything through their mobile device. Think about everything that you can do on your smartphone today. That's just now, not the 10 years it's coming from now. I can check the weather. It will talk to me when I do that. I can check my work and personal emails. I can check any person calendar, my family calendar. I can get an Uber. I can have food delivered. I can have food waiting for me at Starbucks before I leave the house. I can deposit a check in a bank. I can tweet, Instagram, live video chat, and edit a video. All, by the way, all while on the crapper before I've actually showered to go to work. Folks are going to say, but what about video editing? Because I'm a content creator. Hey, I can edit a video right now on Adobe Rush or LumaFusion if I'm on an iPhone. So I have the ability to edit videos right now today on a mobile device. And I know tons of content creators that are doing that today. Now, what about all those really crispy photos that you actually put in your entire house? I've shot and put on the wall a 16 by 20 picture that I've shot at Universal Studios of the Hogwarts Express right on my screen. I've done nothing to it. Now, what about those people that want to get into coding? So there is madewithcode.com. It's a Google thing. I can learn to code right from my smartphone, right through like a Chrome browser or a Safari browser. And then lastly, if I want to get into entertainment, I'm talking about casting. I can completely cast a movie from my mobile device without actually doing anything that I need to. And if I needed a larger screen, again, I would go with casting. I could just cast to my television and it would be all over. The idea that I can do everything from a smartphone now. By the way, I can write emails faster at work by using my smartphone because I use the voice to text feature. So every feature that I would need to have when I'm at work, 9 times out of 10, it's email or calendar or Skype or some type of instant message. And I can handle all of that with a mobile device. I don't actually have to do anything on a laptop. The majority of my day, I can actually do mobilely via a smartphone or anything of that nature. So the idea that that's just the now. I'll respect the time.
No, you should have done like Ben. Keep going. Ben.
Yo.
You know your side of the argument, sir.
Yep.
Your time starts now.
It definitely will not because of form factor, battery life, and dependency on external peripherals. So I'll break it down as this, right? Smartphones in this current state and going forward right now have exponentially increased when it comes to performance and metrics, right? But that is all based on short burst performance. The biggest downside to smartphones are they are passively cooled, and because they're passively cooled, any form of long-term sustained performance just isn't going to happen, regardless of whatever fancy vapor cooling that they're saying that they've put in there. It's not going to happen. It's based on a small form factor that is active, that is passively cooled, that is not actively cooled, right? You are not going to get anywhere near that sustained maximum boost performance for the graphics, for the performance of the CPU to the memory. So 1, that's already a dud. 2, the fact that the form factor itself depends on you having to have any other external peripherals that will allow you to actually get maximum performance for a longer period of time makes it already useless. A laptop, you're talking about casting. Why do I need to cast if I can actually watch it on a big screen on a laptop that is actively cooled, that has proper graphics, that has a proper CPU, that has a proper instruction set based on the hardware that is supported for the software that I'm using? It has a keyboard, it has a trackpad, all in one, right? The idea of smartphones and how they're measured on single benchmarks gives an indication. But what is the point if you can't actually use any of the instruction sets, and if the APIs and how it communicates with the software doesn't actually do anything to give you any raw power to do anything major on a long-term basis? So the idea of it, right, is that smartphones are great. They're personal devices. They're powerful in terms of marketing. Something like the Snapdragon 855, it's an octa-core base. How it's measured with the maximum clock speed at 2.96 gigahertz. It all sounds good. Will you ever actually get anywhere near that performance metric? No. Will the instruction sets ever actually be supported with a wide use of software that matches to the APIs of that hardware? No. And on top of that, the fact that you're not going to be getting not just the cooling, but the battery life to be able to support in that form factor, there's no way for a long period of time you're going to be able to use smartphones to replace what a laptop is doing right now, where laptops are having such big battery and performance. So
all right,
definitely not.
Guys, 5 minutes. Let's keep it going. Go.
So I'm going to talk about the peripherals thing real quick. One thing I want to talk about is like the peripherals I sort of understand, but here's where I'm going to stop understanding it is like the mobile first technology when it comes to the Google Assistant, Siri, and Alexa. Those devices are specific, like those particular features are essential when it comes to everything that you can do on a smartphone. I don't really need the peripherals to do things when I can just ask the assistant to do the things for me. And all of that's really driven on the smartphones themselves.
I can do that on my laptop. I can do that on a Pixelbook. I can do that on the Mac. I can do that on Windows.
But why do I need those things if I can already do it on my smartphone? That's, I guess,
I can do it on my laptop as well. The fact I could do it on my laptop,
but I don't have to carry my laptop. I can only carry my phone if I don't need to carry my laptop.
They are both mobile devices. The fact that they've got portable batteries in there, it makes them mobile. I can do exactly what
they're mobile devices, but the idea is like this is a way easier form factor. Rather than carrying around a laptop, which again, like you had mentioned, it had to be corded at sometimes. The idea is like the voice. I don't need a peripheral most of the time.
Ease is compromised. If you're looking at the ease of the form factor just for carry, is then compromised by the performance. So fine, it can be easier to carry, but with these laptop form factors, if you're looking at 12-inch ultrabooks or 13-inch ultrabooks, even 15-inch ultrabooks as well, that form factor is easy to carry. It can fit into your bag that you carry as you go. If you're looking at it more from the ease of the form factor, then that's where your compromise is. I come back to that compromise. That form factor is compromised because it's based on passive cooling that will give you a very short burst in performance that you cannot sustain for long, and you cannot get the battery life that you need. What is the point if that's going to cripple it? That's the issue. That's the issue you have right there. So already you come back to it.
The battery life you don't have to worry about because they have fast chargers now. Like you can go from 0 to 100% charge in like 42 minutes with
what is it? Laptops. All of them based on power delivery 3.0 with 45 watts and above, all the way up to 85 with the same
everything
charger.
that somebody like here. Think about it when you're on a plane. When you're on a plane, what are people typically doing? Playing music, playing games, reading a book. All of those things I don't want to take a laptop out to do. I can just take my smartphone out and read a book or do the thing that I need to do.
A smartphone with a smaller screen that you're going to squint at when I can have a bigger display that's easier to look at for my eyes.
I definitely understand from that perspective, but if I want to read a book, I'm not going to flip open my laptop and read a book when I'm on.
Why not? If a laptop is a 2-in-1 that can reverse and the keyboard can flush, and it's 2-in-1 and it's slim and it's about 12 inches or 13 inches with slim bezels, great brightness, great sharpness, I think I'm going to look at that on there compared to a small screen.
But the majority
of smartphone
in their living room after coming home from work, they're not going to just fire open their laptop to read a book or watch a movie. The majority of the time, they're going to lay in the living room and do what? They're going to lay on their couch and they're going to play with their phone, or they're going to lay on their couch and scroll mindlessly up and down. The idea is they don't need that performance out of a laptop, but they have the ability to ramp up the performance to
a bigger, brighter display that supports different display formats that I can actually have a better viewing experience for videos and games. Like, mate, I was playing Jedi Fallen Order on my gaming laptop while I was sitting next to my wife while she was watching Netflix, and I had my Xbox pad. So would I be able to do that with my phone? I don't think so. I don't think I'll get the same experience.
Earlier today, I was playing Mario Kart in a car when my wife was in Target right now, and my kids were like, "Daddy, go this way. Daddy, go this way. Throw this green turtle shell." Like the idea is like I was able to do that on a mobile device.
I'm able to do the same with my laptop. It's a gaming laptop. I've got Sonic racing game, 4-way split. I play with my kids all the time. We're all on the same laptop, and mommy is right there next to us. She's watching a game. She's watching the TV. So
I don't need a laptop to do that. I can just do that on my smartphone, which I carry with me every day.
How do you share gaming with a smartphone with multiple people at the same time? I could do that on my laptop.
Play Roblox play Roblox with my kid all the time. He can be on the iPad as long as I'm logged into my account.
So you're gonna have to give no. I've got it all on one system. So multiple controllers wirelessly connected, all on one system with one great screen, whether it's high refresh, high brightness, high resolution, all in one system, and I can actually play it for a sustained long period of time. So this is the difference of the form factor will compromise the level of power. So think about what game developers can do on a form factor like a laptop compared to a smartphone and the performance that they will get. Fortnite on a smartphone is capped at what frame rate? Fortnite on a laptop, even a slim form factor laptop, all the performance and all the credentials that you can get in terms of graphics fidelity, frame rate, and details.
Ben, I'm telling you what, Ben, I'm stressing, bro. My God, this is wearing me out.
I told you, I don't trust you. That first round, yeah, you hotted me up. I'm coming guns blazing.
LB, you are the first one this time around. Who do you have?
Wow.
You're muted.
Why can't Trump be first?
LB, don't do this. This is stressful enough. Like, don't long this. Just make the decision. My heart is hurting me at the minute, man. I'm sweating. Look, I got the shakes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I do too. Oh my God.
I gotta go with Love or Attack on that one.
Okay. Trent, what do you got?
I will go with LB ain't shit, and I'll go with Ben.
Okay. Uh-oh, Viper, what you got?
I gotta go with Peachy, man.
Oh man.
Oh,
man. Oh my God.
This close. God damn it.
I told you guys, Scott is sneaky. I don't trust him for nothing. That nice guy exterior means nothing to me now. I don't care.
I'm still nice, man.
I felt rib shots in that first round. I felt it.
I felt that last one, man. I was like, that was tough. Like, that was a tough question. I didn't know what side I wanted to take on that one.
Well, Ben, you are going to take this round. So, for those of you keeping up at home with the score, it is now tie going into the third round. So, the third question of the night will be, with folding phones on the rise, will the form factor become the standard in the coming decade? Ben, because you won that last round, choose your side, and your time will start when you're ready.
Yes. 100% yes.
And go.
So, I mean, with great OEMs like Samsung, you know, they just had their Samsung Developer Conference in, 2019, and they were really showcasing that follow-up to the Infinity Flex platform from what they introduced last year. And now they've ushered in the next look of the form factor, right? It's now about not just having a phone that is the normal size into something more, but it's all about having a phone that is the normal size into something that's more portable. And I think the fact that that form factor really has now been showcased from what Samsung are showing for the next generation of the Infinity Flex platform, where it's the clamshell vertical infold, not outfold, infold, and also what Motorola have done with kind of the throwback nostalgia of the Razr phone, mixing old with new with folding screen tech. 100%. I know so many people that want and like these 6 inches 18 by 9 all the way up to 21 by 9 aspect ratio phones, but do not love the portability of it. They hate the portability of it. Look at the female demographic, right? This is a big concern for them, why they've always wanted these phones. So imagine being able to have a phone that is what you're used to, what you love, right? In that normal form factor size, that what you see, but when you want to actually just fold it away and have it more portable, easier to carry around, fit into your pocket, fit into your bag, fit into your jacket, fit into more places where it doesn't feel obstructive and it doesn't feel so big and bulky. This is something that's going to be a big selling point. I'm seeing this for a lot of people that want the benefits of the big screen phone that they're used to using in that form factor, right? But having it more portable, having it more ergonomic as you go. And if we're seeing stuff like this from Samsung and especially Motorola with the throwback to the Razr, this is a form factor that people will buy into, and it will be a standard. So folding screen technology in this progression, as things like battery life, camera technology, and the internal specifications catch up to what that form factor is. If you see what's been done with the Motorola Razr right now, right? Yes, as well as obviously the Galaxy Fold and the Mate X, the Flex Pi Royale, not so much. This is going to be the standard going forward. So I can't wait for it, man.
All right. Mr. Scott Peachey.
All right, no, it is definitely not going to be. So Samsung has been a major player in this event since basically like 2013. They've talked about it. They had some of the very first like foldable style displays in like 2015. I'm going to talk about the current cost in a minute, but do you guys remember those waterfall displays on the Samsung devices? And they actually didn't end up helping at all by having that little edge on the right side. A lot of people actually complained about the idea of, I'm not really gaining anything by having that flexible, bendable waterfall display on the one side. And a lot of times it actually ended up being a bigger pain in the butt because you would accidentally hit things when you're trying to thumb through on the right side. This is where I start to see that foldable technology get into, is the idea that it's not actually giving you any new functionality at all. It's the same functionality that you had in a phone before. And so like with the Razr Ben talked about before, is I still get the exact same size device, but I'm actually not getting anything additional at all. I still get the exact same screen quality that I had before on like a Gorilla Glass 5. I'm literally gaining nothing by having a foldable device at all. Now let's talk about the fact that it is incredibly expensive. It's about $2,000 for that device, the Galaxy Fold, which, don't get me wrong, is beautiful. But again, I'm not gaining anything at all. A lot of times people are going to be looking at it in the same form factor that they had before. And if they fold it all the way out, what are you actually gaining by doing something like that other than real estate? Which again, some of the applications that they have right now aren't even geared towards devices that are like that. Yes, Android supports it a little bit, but not all apps and app developers have developed their apps to do that. So the idea that having a foldable display, now I'm getting fragmentation across all of the app development. I'm not gaining anything. And if anything, I'm actually impacting some of my user experience using the apps that I love and cherish the most, because there's just not that much foldable technology. Now we're going to talk about the fact that, hey, by the way, these devices are exceptionally fragile. The idea that, yes, right now, Gorilla Glass has working on like a waterfall or some type of display glass that's as thin as a human hair. But guess what? They're not showing anybody that it actually cracks. So again, you get this foldable technology that gets you absolutely nothing. And you have to take all of the risks when it comes to the fact that it is an incredibly fragile screen. The Galaxy Fold got hammered early this year because you got dust and lint from your own pocket that got behind the screen and messed it up.
Okay.
God, I had so much more with that one.
But you get 5 minutes.
All right,
go.
So I mean, I'll put it this way, right? If I use phones like the first generation iPhone all the way up to something like the iPhone 3GS and maybe the iPhone 4 suffered its own first generation problems, right? When it came to things like not having the latest wireless connectivity, not having a front-facing camera, not being that fast, not being that durable. Even the iPhone 4 had all the antenna gate problems, right? And even into its 6th generation phone still had durability problems. The Pixel 4 has durability problems when it comes to structural rigidity, right? All these phones, even in their established form factor, will have problems and still have problems, right? But it doesn't change the impact those phones, when it came to form factor change and how we use these phones, really dynamically shifted the industry. This is what it's about. It's the best of both worlds, right? Are you a person that values having something that is very much what you're used to, but much more portable, much more compact, much easier to move around? Or do you want something that you're used to in terms of size, but actually getting more functionality? This is where I challenge you at the fact that how are you not getting any more from something like a Galaxy Fold that is moving from being a normal size candy bar phone to almost an 8-inch tablet that you can split screen and use apps up to 3 different ones at the same time? You know, that's the beginning of actually having more functionality and more usability. So it's the two sides argument that brings a whole different paradigm shift to being able to be more portable, but have what you love using in that form factor, or actually go on the other side where you're getting more. The value is amazing for that.
Like that. The typical user doesn't multitask like that. They typically do, I'm only on Twitter, I'm only on Instagram. They don't have 3 and 4 apps open at the same time.
Why not? Why wouldn't they have more than one app at the same time? I can think of many cases.
On that typical user type situation, again, with the price point that they're at, is the idea that this is not going to solve the major market. To get this type of adoption across a huge amount of market, You have to have it available to a majority of the people. And at that
let me take you back. Who define the typical user, because we get sucked into average consumer. Who is the typical user?
The average consumer for me is probably somebody who's between the ages of 40 and 60. Again, two biggest generations right now. You get the baby boomer generation, which is the second largest, first or second largest generation, and then our generation of the Gen Y? Millennials, that's what we are. These are the two biggest generations. So using that particular thing in mind, I think about my wife and I think about my mom. The idea that my wife's not going to spend that kind of money on a phone at all, not to mention the fact that our kids touch our phones constantly. Kids are filthy creatures. I love them, don't get me wrong, but the idea is I barely trust my kid right now with my phone. I'm definitely not going to hand him a $2,000 device that has the ability to essentially just tear the screen very easily. That is for darn sure on that one. I am not handing my kid a Galaxy phone.
This initial cost is all about economy of scale. This initial cost is no different to why Teslas cost so much. It's no different why the Porsche Taycan costs so much as an electric car. Those are first generation cars. As you scale it up, economy of scale, once you get more efficient with the manufacturing process, once it gets more durable, once you get the feedback, once it gets into that generation cycle, it's going to get cheaper. That's nothing new.
Right,
The point is, we always come back to the typical person. Like, let's not undermine what the typical person can do. My kids multitask on these devices. They know how to activate multiple situations, right?
But are you going to get a $2,000 device where
it's not about handing them? It's not about handing them that. I wouldn't even hand my kid a OnePlus 7T that is $600 or $550. So it's not about that. It's about the fact that what you're able to do on there, the typical person can benefit. Why would I not want a browser that's open that I'm looking at within my Ebo, where I can copy it into another app, whether it be Amazon, where I can actually see all these three things at the same time? That is adding efficiency to my workflow and my usability flow that a typical person would want. I think we get this idea that the typical person is so one-dimensional that they cannot do anything else apart from one thing at the same time, even if they know their product can actually give them more functionality throughout. Why would I not potentially want something that is a normal size when I need it, but when I can fold it is bigger, or want more portability?
Form factor. The Razer's battery is going to be awful, but you still get the same.
Yeah, for now. The initial smartphones, their batteries were shocking. They still are.
Oh, Ben. Dude, I'm gonna tell you, bro. Oh.
Viper, you got your hands in your head, so you go first.
Oh, mate, this is
cold. What is happening here? This might be the toughest one yet.
Cold. This is actually cold.
What you got?
This is the toughest one yet, but I gotta give it to Lover Tech, man.
I'm taking it. I'm telling you, I'm ruthless at the minute. I'm taking what I can get.
What you got?
I got Ben.
Wait, who he say?
He said Ben. It's Lover Tech.
Okay, yeah.
LB. The look on your
Good
face.
Lord have mercy.
The look on your face.
Oh, mate, this is mad.
Stop leaving us in suspense.
Don't be looking for the minivan for answers, baby. Don't look to the minivan for answers.
LB, why are you doing this to us?
Spit it out.
LB, come on.
I teeter-tottered this whole match. I did. You both won me over.
Oh, mate, this is tough.
Come on, LB, you dragging it out, damn it.
Really?
I'm gonna have to take anxiety tablets after this.
Just say the name.
I can flip a coin on this. You know what I'm saying?
This ain't Hollywood, man. This ain't Hollywood. Spit it out.
Oh, mate.
Okay, so I'm going.
LV, come on, man.
Hell, he doing this on purpose. He ain't shit. He's doing this on purpose. Oh, LB.
LB, you gonna owe everybody in this chat a bag of popcorn. Hurry the fuck up.
All right. I'm gonna have to go with Ben on this.
Fam. Whoa.
At least I got 3, Ben. That's what I was worried about.
You know what?
What? Scott?
Let's stop. I don't think I could do this anymore. This is too much.
Man, you got to. You got to. Sorry, so
How you go knock somebody out and be like, hey, I can't do this no more.
No. This is I've got the shakes. I've never had this much dose of adrenaline in my life before. This is
Here we go.
Hold on. Let me. All right, so guys, so we have our first knockdown of the match in round 3. So Scott, what that means is you'll get a bonus question here that you guys were not briefed on prior.
Oh boy.
So you'll have 2.5 minutes to argue this question. Judges, same concept. It's a yes or no. All 3 of you must be unanimous. So you have to convince all 3. So your question will be, have we reached peak spec in smartphones? So if you need any kind of context, I can provide it. But if you think you're good, I will go ahead and start the timer on your mark.
I am ready.
Okay. Your 2.5 minutes shall start now.
Yes, we have reached peak smartphone, no doubt. We have seen very stagnant growth in terms of the year-over-year growth. And when I say year-over-year growth, there is a lot of phones that are out there, but when you think about what you're gaining each entire year, you're actually not gaining that much. So that means that peak smartphone has happened. I'm not really getting that much more when it comes to a faster processor. I can live and a couple generations old and really not have to worry about what I've lost. So think about it. Everybody comes back to the camera perspective. And if I can get a chance to touch on this later, I will. The idea is I can take a couple generations phone ago, think the Google Pixel line specifically, and I can get a lot of the very same pictures that I get out of a Google Pixel 4 XL, but I can do that in a Google Pixel 2. And the reason is because they're putting all of their actual research and development into the application side and the OS side, not necessarily what the hardware is in the smartphone. We have reached peak smartphone hardware for sure. This is now a software game, hands down, no questions asked. The things that I can do with computational photography, think night sight and night mode when it comes to iPhone. Again, you're not really gaining that much more when it comes to the hardware side of the things. You're gaining that much more in terms of the computational side of things, which is just through the OS. And now what they're trying to do, and Google specifically doing this really well, is there's a big push with Android One to go into these markets where they don't have a lot of money to buy a phone, but they're doing all of these things when it comes to the OS to make sure that they can have their footprint in a lot of other places because the data is king. See, the biggest thing is the idea is they don't care about the smartphone so much. They care about the data inside of those smartphones that's coming into their servers. Again, I talk about the fact that we've reached peak smartphone. Year over year since 2009, they've actually seen a decline in numbers when it comes to growth of smartphone sales. The idea is smartphone sales up? That's just because there's more people, but an overall decline, it's declined every single year since 2009. The idea now we're getting to the point where we have to go to a foldable design, or I have to go to a new gimmicky style thing, because all of the smartphones that's happened over the last 5 to 8 years really hasn't changed much. The idea is, okay, I still have cameras on the back and I still have cameras on the front. We're talking about teardrop notch here and a big notch with the Pixel 3 XL, which was a disaster anyway, but I'm not really gaining that much more from the hardware side of things.
All right.
I'm still
bro, that wasn't even you.
I'm still trying to recover.
I'm going to get you out the way so that you'll hold us up again. LB.
Hold us up again, you know.
You say it's a go?
Yep.
All right. Viper.
Oh, why you gotta go to Trent, man?
Man.
Fine, I'll go. That was the quickest recovery I've ever seen.
Okay, so that's 2.
Yep.
Now, Viper, now you in the hot seat. Viper, I tried to save you.
Oh man.
It's up to you if he comes back. It's up to you.
You know, I don't agree with the answer, but I agree with his argument. So we can let him back in. He good.
All right. You agree with the argument here. So, Scott, by bringing yourself back in, you earned a saving point. So, guys, we are on our way into round 4. And before we go into that round, Thank you, sir, to Tana So Lit for the super chat. I appreciate you, good sir. Thank you very much. So, all right. We are now into question number 4. 2 more rounds, guys. 2 more rounds. 2 more rounds. It's heating up. It's heating up. Ben,
I sleep like a baby tonight.
Ben, since you won that round by 3-1, you will take the lead on this one here. So, this one will be: will wearables become the next must-have tech accessory? So, if you need any type of context behind the specifics of the question, I can give it. But if you think you got it, what side of the argument will you choose?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. With that said, your time starts now.
I think it will be based on wearables are a natural extension of what we have on us. So, you know, if we look at the type of things that we wear on us, you know, we've got watches, we've got earphones, we've got headphones, we've got glasses. Those are the 3 core elements of wearables, right? Even to things like, you know, bracelets or rings. I'm even thinking of rings, for example, as a means of a wearable, right? I think we can get to a point where it will store a level of data that we need to actually get around, right? I can imagine, you know, your ring being able to, you know, help you get onto, you know, train rides or bus rides or actually make payments. I'm thinking far, far, far into the future here, right? So I think the more technology progresses where it comes to things like battery life, when it comes to things like, you know, seamlessness, when it comes to also speed and how it integrates into how we use things, I feel like those things right there will be able to actually aid it where people will feel like, you know what, I might as well have it. So it might be a case of where your next engagement ring or your next wedding ring or something like that you're buying will actually have technology pieces in there that will make it easier for you to do your day-to-day things. You know, your earphones in terms of what you can do when it comes to things like being able to activate assistance, you know, augmented reality when it comes to AR. When you're actually using things like mixed reality as well, I can see a future where mixed reality will actually help with glasses when we're actually interacting with things like going through Google Maps or navigation, right? All a much safer way because it's actually a natural extension of what we are having on us, and also watches as well, you know, not just the ability. And it's already been proven, like the fact that you can leave your phone at home to some extent and have a watch that has LTE connectivity on there with your wireless Bluetooth headset that has all those connectivity in terms of wearables and still be able to make phone calls and text messages and pick up really adds to that convenience of what people are. We are creatures of convenience. And if you can add more convenience and make us more productive and more efficient with the products that we have on us on a day-to-day basis, whether you're a watch person or not, a glasses person or not, earphones person or not, this is something where it's going to be a must-have in the future, no doubt.
All right. So, Scott, I think he put you against the ropes on this one.
He's coming out swinging.
But let's see what you got. Your time starts now.
I'm going to channel my inner Ben yesterday, and the idea is that a must-have tech accessory. The idea is like, the idea is not everybody is a watch person. Not everybody is a headphone person. The idea is not everybody has glasses. Not everybody has the ability to have wearables where they wear them all the time. Is if I'm not a watch person, I'm really not going to force myself into getting that. So I'm not getting the benefits of having a must-have wearable. I wouldn't think that that would be a must-have at all because I'm just not generally a watch person. What about the fact that you had the abysmal thing of Google Glass? Like that was supposed to be the next AR, VR thing. The idea that was a complete and utter flop. It just did not work. And I had a pair and I can tell you that it was an utter flop. So what about the thing that you have all these wearables connected? They're not entirely accurate. The idea is like you have upwards of sometimes 20 beats per your heart. If you're wearing a wearable, that's not accurate at all. Outside of the Apple Watch, most of the fitness trackers themselves are not nearly as accurate based on a ton of different research that's been done. And the idea is that you're in a constant hyper-connected world. So now I have more things on my body that I can ding, chime, tweet about, but I just need to be, and I don't actually have to be connected at all. Now, the must-have accessory part, let's take in mind is there's Project Jacquard or whatever that is from Google's. They're starting to put technology-enabled thread inside of it. But what am I getting when I'm getting those type of things? They're putting these types of fabrics and textiles and things like that into yoga pants because they want to give you some type of chime on your phone to say, hey, you're doing the downward dog pose wrong. But you could get that exact same thing on your phone, not to mention the fact that those particular wearables are probably going to be $250 per pair of pants for yoga pants. So it is not a must-have tech accessory because you can't afford the must-have part of it. Is the idea you're getting literally nothing from it by wearing a wearable like that. Now you have something like called Luma Run, where I can take a little pedometer and slap it to my actual hip, and it's going to measure if I'm running the right way. But you know what? It's not even tracking my movements the right way at all, and it's $130. So if I have a thing that's less accurate and I'm paying $130 for it, that's not a must-have accessory. When I think of a must-have accessory, it's like, this is revolutionary. It's going to change my life by having a wristwatch on my wrist, or having something in my ears, or something in my pocket telling me that my steps may or may not actually be right, or that my EKG or my heart rate might be 140 or might be 80. That's not necessarily a must-have if I can't trust it.
All right, so let's keep it going. Go.
So would it be wrong to say that a must-have thing can actually save your life? Look at the stories of the Apple Watch and how much lives is saved. So imagine someone in terms of fall detection. Imagine someone where it detects an irregularity in how your heartbeat is, or your systolic or your diastolic blood pressure is, right?
Now, it doesn't do the blood pressure. The EKG part, I will tell you, but it definitely does not do the blood pressure.
Yes.
But you can get some of those same things with the motive rings. The idea is like an Apple Watch is not must-have, and it's not accurate 100% of the time. I would not say, not to mention the fact that it is only one half of the ecosystem. I can't use an Apple Watch as an Android user, so it doesn't save my heart at all because I don't have the ability to do that. Maybe so where's the next tech wearable where I can actually have something save my life, but only 50% of the population has the ability to use an Apple Watch?
So, like, look, when it comes to Apple Watch, that's a specific situation, right? Because obviously Apple and their approach and their business model is exactly the same, right?
If we take wearables of Apple out of it, you're getting nothing from wearables everywhere else.
No.
The idea is like, what are you gaining?
You are. So think about someone that is, let's just say, doing Uber Eats, where they're driving and they're cycling and they're doing delivery. Would you not say that if they have glasses on that actually show them the route that they're going through Google Maps, wouldn't that be safer? Wouldn't that be more convenient?
I don't know if that would be safer, because sometimes you run into people who are on a scooter where they're doing the augmented Google Maps and they get hit by a car because they're watching that. It's like, I'm not sure if having that in, like, I wouldn't look at that as must have. Uber Eats, I can get on my phone. That's not must have.
If you look at what it's saying, right, will it become the next? When anything is next, it's all about what we're going into the next decade. Technology progresses. Not only does it become better, it becomes more efficient. New features get added and new features get refined and improved, right? I'm seeing more even projection ahead, right? These things will become more efficient. When it comes to manufacturing processes, becoming more efficient, chipsets becoming more powerful but small at the same time to fit into different and unique use cases. This is definitely what's going to help bring these things forward.
It's not available to everybody like that. When I think of a must-have,
accessibility is another thing.
When I think about a must-have tech accessory, I think a must-have tech accessory that has the ability to change the entire world. When you are saying 50% or more of the population, unless you have an iPhone device, doesn't get this stuff, that's not really benefiting, and I don't look at that as the next must-have. When I think of must, I think of it is ubiquitous to everyone. It is not ubiquitous to everyone if it's just Apple.
I'll put it this way, like my health insurance that I would have to I pay for extra, right? I have to take the option of having a smartphone that can measure my heart rate because they want you to be more health conscious. What if it gets to the point where these accessories, as they're showcasing the progression of how well they've been built into the health system, right? Healthcare systems could actually require you to have these products where it's a must-have.
But if it's not 100%, accurate and they're basing your insurance premiums on it, But they've had a chance to do this over the
It's
last
progressive.
decade, and they still haven't got it right.
No.
The
It's
idea
not- it's
that
not-
they
it's
still
not-
haven't
it's
got this right. If they're going to make my insurance premiums based on what my watch says, and I don't know that this is 100% accurate, I don't think I want that as a part of my insurance premium.
Nothing. What limits anything being 100% right and 100% perfect is time, right? Same with any product that comes out. For it to be any better, it would have been time restricted, right? As time goes, and if you even look at the example of what has even happened with the progression of the iPad, right? It's taken the iPad 9 years to get to the point where iPad OS is allowing you to utilize and showcase the hardware that you've got in there. Time. It's all based on business models. It's all based on accessibility. It's all based on also what is being showcased and what consumers want and also what's required. I'm seeing a future where potentially these wearables can be life-saving to the point where you may be required. What if you're going to do a job where it actually requires you to have it? Let's look at, let's just say, augmented reality or mixed reality, where if you're recording a car crash, for example, and you're driving and you've got those glasses on, right? It could be the next progression of a dash camera, right? You won't miss what's being recorded. You won't miss what is actually happening.
That's
Just
a
in
very
case anything
small
happened.
niche. That's a very small niche type market.
It's
I don't
a
like
niche,
not
but
everybody
you have
wouldn't
to see
have
the progression of the future.
but
You
it's
have
not
to see into the
it's
future
not a
what
must
that
have if it's
that
just
possibility
a niche.
could. That
It's
possibility
not must like when I think of must have, I think it is again ubiquitous to the masses. If
it
it is
can
not
become
something
a must-have. It can become a must-have. Think about it. If I'm a driver and I can actually have glasses on that can actually record what I'm doing in terms of my day-to-day, it can save me a lot of time if anything goes wrong, whether it's customer abuse, whether it's a car accident. Oh, you know, why you guys are ruining me and Scott's relationship right now. I'm gonna sue the judges. They're trying to ruin our relationship, Scott. They're trying to make us hate each other.
No, bro, I do not hate you at all, man.
No,
I have nothing but love
refuse.
for you, dude. I have nothing but love for you. I hope, like, seriously, I hope you're not taking any of this.
No,
personal.
I'm not.
I'm trying to freaking win.
It's just when you're in the moment, it's like you're just
yeah.
All right, my man Trent. Since everybody wants me to pick you first, I'm picking you first. You're muted,
Ben.
This is going down to the wire. I can feel it.
All right, my man LP. What you got?
I'm gonna have to go with Scott on this one.
Oh, wow! I knew it. Oh,
Viper. Viper, your face says a lot, but what you got?
Oh, man, this is an all lover attack. What?
What? Oh, wait. I need a break. Time out, please. This
You got one more round.
I think I just aged like a good 10 years that quickly. The whole decade just hit me in one haymaker.
All right. So here's the thing. We are entering the last round.
Have I technically lost?
I think the fight is technically over if I'm not mistaken.
No. Let's go down to the wire. Even if he has, I want to see this.
I think I'm out.
Well,
I still want to see this through.
We got the one more round, so we're gonna go ahead.
The only way Scott could win is if he knocks out.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
Okay, I got it.
So if we go the next round, Scott has to knock out Ben.
Yep.
And keep him out. And keep him out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
like a real boxing match. It's like a real boxing match.
Hey, dude, we got 5 rounds, baby. That's impressive. I'm happy with that.
I knew it was gonna go down to the wire. I knew it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the last question is: with all of our advancements in smartphones, will the camera remain the biggest selling point? Lover of Tech, you won that round. So you got your time. We'll get ready to start. But before it starts, I want to go ahead and let everybody know that the Tech Preacher, aka Eric from Easy Computer Solutions, is on standby. And the loser.
No. Hold on. He's not in the studio though. He's not in the studio.
No, he is. He's backstage right now.
No, he's not in his studio though.
No, he's backstage right now. Viper, look down.
I can't look down. You only have access to backstage.
Okay. All right. Well, just for Viper's fun.
Oh, never mind then. Okay.
So what that means is that if Scott knocks Ben out and Ben is not able to come back, there will be a funeral for Ben. However, if Ben is able to keep Scott down There will be a funeral for Scott as a fighter, and will be done as soon as it is over with. But of course, you guys don't leave because we're going to have the judges explain their reason for choosing each person in each round. So without further delay, Ben, 2.5 minutes. Let's go.
100% yes. It will be the biggest selling point. If you look at how anything is based on, right? When it comes to us as human beings and us as people, right? We are driven by emotion. We are not logical creatures, right? We are built on the memories that we can capture, the memories that we can relive, the memories that we can have. Why it will be the biggest is because on a smartphone, right? As much as you can tell someone that if you want to take better pictures, go buy one. Most people now, right? Majority to about 60 to 80% of people do not own any proper camera in their house because they trust that their smartphone camera will more than do the job. They trust the convenience of having it there. They trust the ease of convenience of being able to transfer it. They trust the convenience of being able to walk into a digital store and have it printed. They trust the convenience of it being able to take the shot, whether it's video or pictures, instantaneously without any worry, right? And being able to drive that away and pretty much keep improving what a smartphone can do when it comes to not just quality, hardware-wise, when it comes to versatility, when it comes to things like having multiple focal length cameras, when it comes to also having features such as portrait mode that's using computational photography and video with the chipsets and the APIs that are in there to do live focus video or manual focus, right? Look at things like the iPhone where I saw comparison against, you know, something like an A7 III, and the extended dynamic range performance for video on the iPhone is phenomenal, right? We're getting to that point where now also you're seeing a groundbreak. And if you look at phones like the Xiaomi Mi Note 10, that sensor size is getting closer to that sensor size of what you find in 1-inch camcorders, as well as point and shoot cameras like the RX 100, right? So as it's progressing and as it keeps getting better with the match of computational photography, what we're going to be able to see in terms of also video as well, people are going to see that, wow, we've come a long way where there's generally not much difference, but the convenience, the ease of use that I have in my hands to be able to do that, that is going to be such a big selling point. The camera is the most popular and the most relevant question every person, whether they're techie or an average, asks when they buy a smartphone when they go into store. So yes.
Scott, no pressure.
Damn,
But
Ben.
can you
Ben,
knock him out?
I was gonna say, Ben, I love you. You know this. So don't take
Too
any of
much
this
love, bro.
personal. Are you ready?
Now, Ben, take all of it personal. Let's go.
So I talked about it before. We have reached peak smartphone, and here's the reason why. Ben just said a whole bunch of times, computational photography, computational photography. You do not need to buy the latest and greatest smartphone at all to get the greatest computational photography in the least. They are baking it into the OS systems. Now that we've reached peak smartphone, we've reached peak camera. I can get a 108 megapixel sensor on a Mi Mate 10. Hey, that's great if I want to actually put my photo on the side of a building. I have no reason to buy a camera that has a sensor that large. Is the idea that the single biggest reason to upgrade every single year was the camera. Now I don't have to do that because of the computational photography that Ben just mentioned. I get all of the same goodness without actually having to buy a phone, which means they're not selling a phone because I'm not buying it. Again, I talked about it before. The year-over-year growth has declined since the early 2000s. Now, the cameras on the devices are not saving them from peak smartphone, so people are not buying the device for cameras anymore. Perfect example, go with the foldables that you're seeing in the market. You have a single solitary camera on the brand new Motorola Razr. That's the foldable phone. You're not buying that phone for the camera. You're buying that phone for the form factor. Again, if you look at the iPhone 11 Pro Max, iPhones had great cameras, that's fine. But guess what? The people on YouTube are not fawning over the iPhone 11 Pro Max because of the camera. They're fawning over it a lot of time because the battery life on that bad boy is incredible. And again, look at the Pixel 4. Pixel 4 takes incredible photos. You know what's getting talked about a lot right now? The fact that their battery on the Pixel 4 is hot trash. The idea they're not talking about the photos anymore. So it's not a big selling point. The biggest selling point that you're going to see in the future is when one of the manufacturers figures out a way to get the battery life 3, 4, 5 days. That's the biggest selling point. The photography is all going to basically wash out in the end. If you take a Samsung, if you take a Pixel device, if you take an Apple device and you lay them side by side in photos, it's personal preference at best. But you're getting to the point now where you're going to go into these foldable designs, a design that is much more interesting, that has nothing to do with the camera. The camera is all the same anyway because of the computational photography that's there. The idea is that that's all you're getting. I don't need to go out and buy a brand new camera for that. I can start to look at other things. That is why you will not see the camera be the single biggest selling point in the future.
5 minutes for both of you guys.
Lord, Jesus
Remember,
Christ.
before you go, this is for all the marble, baby.
Shut up,
Let's go.
Piper, let him go. Shut up.
Ben, you're 100% right on the computational photography. There is no question, but I don't have to buy the latest and greatest phone in order to get that awesome computational photography. Night mode on a Pixel 3, night mode on a Pixel 4, that's relatively the same. Night mode on some of the other things, you're not getting that all computation. I'm not buying a device simply because of astrophotography mode. I'm just not simply going to do that. The idea is now I'm going to those foldable designs, so I have something interesting. I got a single camera on the back of the brand new Motorola Razr. I'm not getting any benefit at all. I'm definitely not buying it because of the camera on that particular bad boy.
That does not take away anything when it comes to emotional purchase.
But that's not the. But again, that's not
every
the question.
single time.
The question was the biggest selling point.
It's the biggest selling point.
The camera on a Motorola is not the biggest camera.
No.
The biggest one. No. It is definitely the
hence why people won't buy that phone. Because I promise you this now. Every single person I've worked in sales and I still indirectly work in sales, right? Every single time someone makes a purchasing decision, anything else that you wild them with, as soon as it gets to the camera, if the camera is good, whether it's perceived or not, if the camera is good, they make that purchase decision.
But you just mentioned it earlier that they're going to buy that phone for the nostalgia purpose. So they're not buying it for the camera. The single biggest reason they're buying that Razr is for the nostalgia points. So the idea is I'm getting that because of the nostalgia, not the camera.
What if you're not part of that era? If you're not part of that era, it won't matter to you. What's going to matter to you is that no matter what you tell them about the folding screen, and a lot of people see it, you go into store, these reps or these sales advisors will be telling you so many different features. The consumer will be like, yeah, okay, but how good is the camera? Because it matters to them.
But what about the people that are like heavy duty power users? And the idea is like, hey, I made a 30-45%. I can go 2 whole days without charging my iPhone 11 Pro Max. And I didn't buy that because of the camera. I bought that because of the battery life on this bad boy. People
are gonna charge their phone every 2 hours, every 3 hours. I know people that come into store not to buy anything. They just ask, hey, can I charge my phone? People do not mind charging their phone.
But if you have a company that says, I'm going to give you 30 to 40% better battery life, or I can do this,
they will still come back and ask you, how good is the camera? Because for them, they'll be like,
cameras are basically the same. All the cameras in the again, I talked about it before, the Samsung device, the iPhone device, and the Pixel device.
Not for consumers.
It's personal preference. You have
not for consumers.
It is a more contrast.
People are based on emotions. They are based on the best product that they can use to actually capture their memories, to relive them, to really showcase what they want to show on social media, what they want to show when they're growing up to their kids, or what they want to showcase to their friends and family. They need something that is not just powerful, but is versatile, but will give them the results that they want, and they can see the difference. I know people that have come in and they're like, I can see the difference in the camera, and this is the reason why I want to buy this phone. They don't care if the phone has a screen that is 720p. This is why the iPhone 11 is selling in drones. It's got the worst screen I've seen since 2012. Does not matter because of the camera.
Camera.
Because of the camera. 100% because of the camera. 100% because of the camera.
Because the price point on the iPhone 11 Pro was absolutely
and the camera. And the camera.
That's not the reason why they bought it. They knew the camera was
100% because of that. Because Apple marketed it so well that they come in and said it's because of the camera. I've seen the camera, and it's because of what I'm getting with the camera is why I want to buy it.
Scott, audio is going. Scott, your audio.
My audio?
Okay.
There you go. You're good now. You're good.
People came in to buy the iPhone specifically because it was $750 iPhone. I can go and get in the Apple ecosystem, so $750. again, that's not the biggest selling point. They just knew that the camera was going to be fine because it's an Apple product. The biggest idea is like, I get an Apple product for $750.
They know it to be the first and the most important thing, because they know that any other situation where they have a camera that doesn't do what they need to do, whether it comes to using on their social media and also giving them the quality, they won't do it because it matters to them. It matters to them. Hey, this is why that progression of hardware as well as computational photography and the feature sets that you get them combined together still makes the camera the most important and the most important.
Buying their own Apple products because of the camera. They're buying it for the ecosystem. The idea they get AirDrop, iMessage. It's almost every single time you ask an Apple user, "Hey, why'd you buy your iPhone?" I bought it because I want AirDrop. I bought it because I want iMessage. And then
I make the argument that because
automatically.
That's it. That is it. 5 minutes is over.
My God.
God,
that was tough. That was tough.
Ben, brother. Ben, I love you, brother.
Bro, Scott,
that
All
was awesome,
right,
bro.
guys, let's get the judges.
I vote that LB goes first.
Yes, since he cut his camera off, LB goes first. LB stepped away.
He got.
Hey,
I'm here.
Right. Who you got, LB?
LB looks more stressed than us.
LB, remember, it's a lot riding on your vote. It's a lot riding on all of this. So what do you choose?
No pressure, right?
No pressure.
I gotta ride with Scott on that one.
Oh, dude, this is going down to the wire.
Viper.
Love or attack, man.
Yes. Either way.
I gotta roll with Scott.
Cool.
Viper robbed us of a climax. So that means that Ben is the winner. Scott, I'm going to take you out for just a second to let Eric do his little craziness. And, once Eric is done with it,
I thought we got to give our reasons first.
No, after.
It's after.
LB, you've been there plenty of times. You know how this happens. All right, let's do it. Uh-oh, not me.
Members of the congregation.
Oh, man.
To another funeral procession. I am your tech preacher, and I am here today to bury Scott. Man, you did a good job. You did a good job, but good is not good enough. So we have to bury you. The points you've made, I really liked, but unfortunately, it wasn't good enough. So welcome to a funeral. Man, it's going to be very difficult to get you in the casket with that hair pointing up like that, but we will flatten it down a little bit to get you in the casket. As you know, with these techniques, there's no fluff, no passes. If you don't come with your A game, you will be buried. So for all future fighters, understand one thing: the tech preacher will be here, standing by, no matter what. If you fail, the casket will be waiting for you. Yes. So, all members on deck, pall bearers, we're going to bow our heads and say our last goodbyes to Scott. May him rest in peace. Thank you very much for having a tech preacher on deck. And if you know who I was, follow me. Easy Computer Solutions. And I have these funeral processions all the time. Thank you, Mike. Come
gotta mess with my hair. What? I didn't do nothing.
Thank you to Eric.
Oh God.
Being from Ohio.
All right,
Straight
so
up.
what happened to LB? LB, yo. Oh, come on, man. LB leave and he got to start explaining stuff. Come on, man. All right, well,
No,
Viper.
before we explain anything, LB is going to go last, okay?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Actually, I want Viper to go first because Viper robbed us. Everybody in the chat was waiting for it. We were like, Viper, Big Scott. And Viper said it, love her.
I brought everything I had on that last one.
I knew Scott was going to take me to the wire. The fact that he resurrected himself, that's some Undertaker stuff. That's some guy did an Undertaker to me, you know. You know when you lay him out, you hear dong, resurrected.
So I'm gonna put the first question back up. Viper, why did you pick your opponent in this question here?
My opponent, you mean why did I pick
I'm not your opponent. Yeah, your opponent, like the person you chose.
Okay, who did I oh, I think I picked Ben in this one, I think, right? I picked Ben because he brought up the point about the biometrics adding a layer of security to the phone on top of what was already there, like the path code. The biometric was in addition to what was already there. Besides, he also brought up things like using Apple Pay and things like that, and how the biometric makes it easier. And how many people today are using Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, things like that to make biometric payments? So because he made those arguments, I'm like, you got to give it to Ben on that one.
All right, Trent.
The reason why I went with Scott on that one.
I knew he would go with Scott on that one. I knew it. I knew it.
I mean, just from what I've seen in the news and over the years of like stuff being compromised and things like that. And I even made a video talking about how, you know, with the whole people was worried about, oh, your girl's going to unlock your phone with your biometrics. And people was worried about that. Children have even gone and bought Fortnite currency by tapping their finger to their parents while they were asleep. So there is where you can be hurt more than it can help, you know, like basically the convenience of unlocking your phone is one thing, but somebody taking your finger and spending your money. Yeah, I had to roll with Scott on that one.
Okay. LB, why did you choose who you chose?
I had to choose Scott on that one for the simple fact that, to be honest, I was expecting more out of Ben. I thought he was going to take that one and run. I never really heard the solid points that I was expecting. I think Scott just made more solid points, against Ben in that one. He came in on the second half, but I didn't just have that solid argument that I was looking for. Maybe I was infected by the weigh-in the night before, but Scott just had more of a steady argument on that one. It was close to me on both sides.
All right, so with the second question, Trent, why did you pick who you chose in this one?
The reason why is because partially due to the argument, but at the same time, wait, who the hell did I pick? And I'm getting old. I went with Ben. The reason why I went with Ben was because the physical limitations of smartphones, and you have an aging population where a lot of them, it's just easier for them to use a laptop. And there's so many things that you can still do. Like, yes, you can edit a YouTube video on a laptop, but you're not going to be editing an entire movie on a phone. There's just certain limitations as far as longevity. And I like the points that Ben brought up about, you know, the cooling and all of that stuff.
Okay. LB?
I went with Ben on this one for this reason. I hold the same argument as Scott, and I just didn't think Scott did a strong enough argument. I think Ben got him when he yelled out peripherals. And once he yelled that out, it was two things. It was that, and it was the fact that Scott was being a little too courteous with Ben by giving him argument space, at the last 5 minutes. And I'm sitting there in the back in my brain going, would you just cut him off and tell, so it was like he let him lay a whole bed of points, in that 5 minutes. So it was like, to me, Scott he didn't run with it the way that I would have liked him to run with it. Being someone who pretty much lives by a mobile device, it was like the argument just wasn't strong enough.
Okay. Viper.
So this was interesting to me because I actually chose Scott because it wasn't as much as what Scott said as what Ben said. Ben's arguments actually played into Scott's hands. He mentioned form factor and performance, and I'm like, dude, everybody has a mobile phone in their pocket, and we're always on the go. We don't really have time to sit down and use a laptop that much anymore. Everybody's using a mobile phone. So when you talk about form factor, that plays into the smartphone's hands. And then performance, I mean, we got iPhones and iPads that are almost as powerful or more powerful than PCs out here. So I don't really know if you can argue performance when you got the A13 Bionic chip just killing everything. So I think it was more about what Ben said as opposed to what Scott said in that argument.
All right. Well, Viper, while we're on you, why did you choose who you chose for this one?
Oh man, who did I choose for this one?
Folding phones on the rise will the form factor become the standard in the coming decade?
Okay, I think I chose. I mean, I wanted to choose Scott so bad on this argument, but I chose Ben because I think Ben had the better argument. Because Ben, I think, was the only person who addressed the future, and that was the question. Like, the question says, with floating phones on the rise, will form factor become the standard in the coming decades? And I think Ben argued about what's coming in the next decade better than what Scott did. So even though I wanted to choose Scott for the argument, he didn't argue about what's coming. Ben did, so I had to give it to Ben.
All right, Trick.
I would say the bet. I couldn't really get with either side at first because no one was really going about the future until the very end. Because like the question basically says, with folding phones on the rise, will the form factor become the standard in the coming decade? 10 years is a really long time. And so that's why I went with yes, like with Ben.
Okay. Hey, LB, why did you choose Ben?
This can't definitively say because Scott argued from the present and not from the future.
Okay. So, LB, why did you choose Ben on this one? Because this was the knockout round.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, actually.
I chose Ben. I chose Ben simply because I think he just made a stronger argument. That was the other round that it was like Scott was being too polite and giving Ben too much space to lay his argument.
I don't think he was, but
I mean,
I'm just saying. I don't think
it was within that. It was in that 5 minutes that I heard more Ben than I heard Scott. Okay. So it was like it was that one where it was a toss up for me, but I heard Ben more than I heard Scott, and that's really what pushed me over.
All right, so we'll keep it on you. Now I think this one was an interesting one. So before we do that, why did you guys let him back in? Because it was a unanimous decision. Back in. And
I also want to know that.
I need to know why you guys let him back in because that was a unanimous decision.
All right, I'll go ahead and take this one. Take this one away. First off, Apple. Straight up, everybody agrees that specs really don't matter, and it's all about software. And to Android's argument, how many times have people argued about, oh, well, now they got 12 gigs of RAM in the phone. Who's going to use 12 gigs of RAM? They got this processor in the phone. They got that processor in the phone. Who's going to use all of that anyway? Everybody always comes back to software integration and how it works. Just like people with the iPhones, right now, you got the processor, you got the RAM. Ain't nobody talking about processor and RAM. People are talking about the bugs that you got with iOS 13. So at this point, the specs are kind of moot.
Okay.
I don't like here. This is the funny part because Scott said that he said that we what did he say? I think he said we had reached peak smartphone, and I don't think we have personally, but his argument was solid. He was talking about how it's not really a hardware war anymore, it's a software war. Yeah. And I've been saying for the past few months that AI is the next battlefield in terms of smartphones and technology in general. So when he started arguing, I'm like, it doesn't matter what I think. He's arguing the right argument, so we got to get him back in.
Okay, LB.
All right, so for this one I chose.
You chose Scott.
He just had a clean. I couldn't argue anything. That he just came with a clean answer. You know, it was precise, clean. I could go with it. You know, so it was nothing not to choose him. You know, to say he didn't deserve to be back in.
Okay, well, LB, why did you choose your opponent for this one?
Question number 4.
For the wearables?
Yes. Question number 4.
The reason I chose for this one was because Scott zeroed in on must-have. And when he zeroed in on must-have, I had to ride with him. I actually faulted Ben for not taking this argument because he set that up for Scott last night.
It's true.
Yeah, you did.
You have to admit, there's a lot of setup questions that I went the other way on purpose because I wanted to throw curveballs to really throw him off.
You took every other side.
The must-have, I truly don't think that there was a way to bounce back from that. From the must-have.
There was no way. There was no way.
Scott, he zeroed in on must-have. He stayed on must-have. And to me, that was a solid argument. Everything else was, Ben put up a good fight. He put up a good debate. But must-have was a key part of that question. And it was kind of like when John Prosser won against me when he reread the question.
No, it's true. It's true. 100%.
Right. Trent?
I personally see wearables being the future, and it was argued better, in my opinion. Once again, a lot of the points that were made were from the present, and it's like, well, we have to look at next as in the future. So while some of your points might be correct in the present, it may not be correct for the next coming thing.
For the record, like the last 3 questions, I argued against the point I totally wanted to make.
Exactly.
Damn you, Ben. Damn you. Like, I swear to God, I wanted the total other side. And I'm like, I don't want to argue this side because I agree with it. It is the damn next thing.
This is where I was trying to throw curveballs because I didn't want to give you the opportunity of what happened in the weigh-in. I wanted to throw you off and see what your other side.
I had notes about like whoop straps and EKGs. Like I was ready.
Yep.
Right, bro. I saw your face kind of blow up a couple times.
You remember that? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Looked like his mind was blown like 3 times. This one.
there was a point where Ben ethered him so bad. I'm like, damn. But the main thing is that Ben initially argued about the convenience of wearables, and no matter what you think, anytime you can bring convenience into tech, that is going to be a major selling point regardless. But what really hit me in the check when they were arguing back and forth, when Ben said that the Apple Watch there are stories out there of the Apple Watch saving your life. That was it. It was over at that point. There was nothing else that needed to be said. I know Scott was arguing about how the Apple Watch is only prudent to Apple, but what Scott forgot, or what he might not have forgotten, I don't know, and he didn't mention it, is that Apple is the industry trendsetter. So there's going to be technology that is not Apple that will follow the Apple Watch. So when the question says the next must-have tech accessory, even though the Apple Watch is Apple proprietary technology, that doesn't mean that other companies won't try and duplicate it and make their own type of lifesaving technology. So that can't be ignored.
Okay. All right. Well, while we're on you, the last round.
Oh,
I got to know why you chose Scott on this one because
he chose Viper chose Ben.
I chose Ben.
Oh, I thought you chose Scott. Okay.
No. Everybody was mad because I
Viper
chose
messed it up.
Ben.
Oh,
Viper was meant to make it the anticlimax of it going to a knockout and me trying to resurrect myself and me failing and Scott winning.
Oh.
And then that being the story.
No,
Viper ruined it.
I went all out that
Nah,
last
you
round,
went
too.
all out. You went all out, bro. I took an L for the win.
Listen, man. The camera is king right now. It doesn't really matter about specs and things like that. People, there's the saying, right? The best camera, the best camera out there is the one that you have in your pocket on your person. The camera will, for the foreseeable future, always be the main selling point of smartphones. The iPhone 11 and 11 Pro Max, well, actually, the 11 Pro Max, and the iPhone 11 Pro Max in general this year was my best smartphone of the year partly because of the camera. Now, Scott argued battery life, and that was a pretty good argument, but iPhones have been selling hand over foot with terrible battery life for the past, 8, 9, 10 years? So I don't know if you can use battery as the main selling point for phones. I mean, there are Android phones with twice the battery life of iPhone, but they're not selling like iPhone. But when we talk about them cameras, man, it gets serious and it gets real quick. So I had to go Ben, and I think cameras are still going to be a strong selling point moving forward.
All right, Trent.
So basically my choice was pretty much an opposite of Viper, because even though what Viper was saying and what Ben was saying made sense, I'm looking at it from the future. And Scott brought up a really good point on how so many of these cameras are similar. A lot of people can't really tell the difference. And then the computational photography is there. What's next? The next thing is battery life. If you come out as a phone maker and you tell somebody that, hey, we got a graphene battery and your phone will last a week, that is going to blow people away, because it's the next big step forward where all these cameras are looking more and more the same. So looking at the question in advancements in smartphones, will the camera remain the biggest selling point? I think no.
Okay. LB, round it out.
This is around, I think I told Scott on this one, right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
And my reason was the remain. I heard the remain part, and Scott pointed out the points that, like he brought up the Razr phone, that this camera isn't even a selling point of that phone. He brought up those points and the fact that it said remain, so the points that he brought up about it, even the fact that he mentioned about the iPhone, and the strongest selling point of the iPhone 11 was the fact that they met the price point. You see what I'm saying? So if that was the main selling point, it wasn't the camera. Everyone speaks of the cameras on the 11 Pro and 11 Pro Max, but the 11 was there for the price point. So he brought up key points.
Okay. All right. So that is pretty much it. Now I'm going to throw up here just to show you guys. If you would have been knocked down, Ben, in the last round, this would have been your question. Will dependency, it should say will our dependency rise or fall on smartphones in the next decade?
Damn, that would have been a hard question.
Oh, that is a hard one. But I would definitely say yes. I mean, the dependence, it's just not going to stop, honestly.
Well, it's a good thing that you didn't have to.
Yeah, I'm glad. But I genuinely think that the dependency on smartphones is not going to stop. Like, it's way too powerful, way too convenient. Like, I'm going back to the days where, like, to do bank transfers, you had to go in the bank, book an appointment to deposit cash. You had to, like, it's cutting so much of the middleman out of the equation of just doing normal everyday things that we're just going to keep depending on it more. It's integrated into how we pay for our food, how we pay for our shopping, how we pay for our transport, how we pay for our gas and fuel. That's the smartphone has just become the central hub of so much. Like, because I don't get fiber optic connection with my broadband provider, my smartphone is my tethering hub. because I get crazy speeds on my smartphone. I can't do YouTube without my smartphone because for whatever reason, my carrier, my network has way better speeds. So it's crazy, man. I don't think that dependency is going down. The faster these phones are getting, you're going to be more hooked, and you're just going to be dependent on it to do more things quicker, more convenience. It's nuts, man.
I disagree, Ashley.
I tell you, I really quick, I want to chime in. I really liked some of the points that Scott was making.
Scott,
especially when it comes down to the smartphone replacing the laptop. Now, I've made so many videos. I mean, showing off what a smartphone can do, with an HDMI to USB Type-C, plugging it into a regular TV with a Bluetooth keyboard and mouse, a Bluetooth game pad. I mean, connecting it to just doing everything PC like. Now, I just recently made a video about how I use Linux on the Galaxy Note 9 software using Dex. If you want code, also playing games, also using it for a PowerPoint presentation, which in the video, I showed my S Pen flipping through different slides, just using the S Pen. Now, that's so powerful. Look, the smartphone is the most powerful tool that you have in your pocket. Even though we don't utilize all the resources with all this RAM and all this power that we have, if we look at what a smartphone can do, it is mind-blowing. And these are the tutorial videos that I be making. And people be arguing, the fact that it can't. And I prove it every day that you can use a smartphone to replace a PC. Now, people used to argue, well, easy, you can't code on it. Well, that argument was gone because you can't use Linux on Dex. So you can use Linux software. Okay, so you could do PowerPoint presentation. So if you're in college, PowerPoint presentation, you can do Word, Excel spreadsheets. Yep. You can surf the web. You can watch movies. Now with Dex, with Samsung intertwined with Microsoft, when you plug in your Galaxy Note 10 to your PC, now you have 4G LTE speeds. Now you have the power of the PC on the laptop, so you can continue what you're doing from the phone to the laptop. I could talk about it all day, but I agree with Scott 100% about utilizing a smartphone to replace a PC, and absolutely you can. I mean, it's not even a question. You got the power, you got everything in between, and I totally agree with Scott. Scott also made some, and look, don't get me wrong, this was like the best, right? I mean, I know we had a lot of fights, but some of the points was like, man, it could either way.
I was gonna ask, like, on like a scale, like I've watched other ones, and like I kind of want to know what all y'all's like. Full disclosure, I absolutely love this. I lost. I don't care at all. Ben, I love it, dude. It was so much fun.
Like what you've created for this this whole tech fight thing is dope. It's dope.
So good.
I'll be honest. If people watch the weigh-in, I purposely did curveballs because I wanted to throw Scott off, because I said it. I don't trust Scott for nothing. There were points you were making. I was like, this guy's killing me, but I cannot show it. There's no way I'm gonna show it right now. I'm gonna keep interrupting where I can, drive more points, even though I know these points are not valid, because I'm more on the side of what you're saying, what Easy just said, and what Scott was arguing. I actually agree with the smartphone side of that argument. I genuinely do, right? Because I'm more seeing it as the mass public, right? What can the mass public benefit from? And it's the same transition that happened with, cassette players to Walkman players to CD players to the removal of, CD drives. Mate, that was tough.
This was an excellent fight, man. But God, you gotta stop being so damn nice. You gotta jump in when you want to jump in.
I don't think he was. I don't think Scott was, though. That's the thing. No. I don't think he was.
Man, he let you talk for like 23 hours. You gotta jump
Of
in,
course,
Scott.
he
You
was
gotta
being
jump in.
polite to you.
Yeah, you gotta jump in,
was.
baby.
There was parts where he was hurting. I was like, nah, I've just got to go back.
That's the
I've got
Because
to
I was
I've
sitting
got to
here.
trick you judges into thinking that I'm making good points, but I'm really not.
Look, I was sitting here waiting for Scott to like pounce, and for Scott, my decision always came down to the 5-minute rounds, and it was like, man, you made great points, but you're giving him the courtesy of getting his points across, and I'm like, don't do this.
Totally fair. Totally fair.
Because the question about the phone being a replacement, I was on your side with that argument. Like, I totally agree with the fact that you can live and die by your mobile device. Everybody in this panel knows that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, man, I am hearing too many points from Ben, there's like,
I will say, as we get ready to close it up, I do appreciate the fact that each one of you guys judging, from Trent to Viper to LB, you guys kept it on the questions.
Yeah, for real.
You guys did not judge based off of your own personal feelings, and I think that is the way that it's supposed to be done. We get that with Adrian and Tana and the other judges that we've had, but you guys, the three of y'all were straight on.
Nah, man, judges tonight.
Because a couple of times, I just knew Viper was going to go another way, and then he didn't, and I'm over here like, so.
Now, judges made it happen tonight, man. You guys made it happen.
Ivan Tech, thank you for the super chat, sir.
People have been asking gel or moose. People have been asking gel or moose. I got to answer the question. It keeps coming up. Everybody wants to know. I use a gel called King Mode. No joke. King Mode.
Wow.
King
Gel
mode.
or moose.
No, man, but I think that's been like something that happened in the past with the fighting. That I felt like sometimes the judges were judging on their own bias instead of what was happening in the fight. So I made it my business tonight to listen to what they had to say and then make my decision on what they were saying. Because that one argument about if foldables are going to be the next thing, I wanted Scott to come home so hard and agree with Scott. I'm like, no, they're not going to be the next thing. But Ben just made the better argument. I'm like, I know what side of the coin I'm on. But Ben is making a better argument, so I got to go with Ben.
Well, I will say, because I see her in the chat. And I know. Look, all you got to do is say her name 3 times, and she pops up like the boogeyman. Adrian is hands down. Now, I think what I said yesterday, Adrian might be a judge. I saw the look on Ben's face. I saw the look on your face. Adrian is that judge that she's gonna judge based off of not only the content of the question, but I mean, the girl got a damn checklist.
Look,
she got a damn checklist.
The very reason why I love Adrian is why I always tell her she don't want me to be great. That's the very reason why I love Adrian, because she doesn't want me to be great, and she knows this. She knows this, man.
Well, Ben, since you won, we gotta ask you now. We gotta ask you before we close it out.
Cool.
Since you are the winner. Who you want to take on next?
Boy, bring on anyone, man. I'll take them. Bring anyone. I'll take them.
I think it's somebody sitting right next to you, holding a little boy that might be able to give you a good run.
Trent, you know.
You look. Somebody please get a screenshot of that.
Mate.
His face, no. His face, bro, no.
Trent, do me a favor. Do it again.
Fam. Don't do that.
Oh my
do not
God.
do that.
My man over there, like, why, dude?
You guys want to do me like that? Cool.
You said
cool. I eat my words. I come with the same energy. I said it. Cool. Make it happen.
Well, Scott, just because you lost tonight does not mean that you cannot throw.
No. I'm telling you.
You can eat somebody else alive if you want to. Now that you know what it's about. So, you got anybody in mind you're thinking of, or are you gonna kind of?
Oh, I'm not hanging it up. Oh no,
Okay.
no. I will eventually come back for Ben though. I definitely want a rematch.
We need a
on that.
rematch.
We'll get
we
that
need
again.
a rematch. We got to do. You got to do. This is all. It has to be Fraser and Ali rematch. It has to be that, man.
No, I don't know who yet. There's a lot of great like actual people out there that would be fun to debate and argue with. I gotta think about that one a little bit. I think there was a couple other. Kev the Tech Ninja was out there. Like, who are you thinking about, Kevin? I love Kevin. Like, we played golf together. He's a damn good golfer. He's super smart. Holy crap! That would be really interesting and fun. So, yeah.
Well,
Travis saying like Scott wanted some of that LB. Look, LB, I got nothing but love for you, brother. But now that I know,
LB is relaxing for a while.
I did not say it. Travis brought it up in the chat.
Wait, he carried so much.
LB is on his 4th trip to heaven, and I think he's loving it.
Hopefully, like honestly, dude, I'm telling you what, this is absolutely fun.
This
stuff.
was
hopefully
fun,
people.
bro.
I hope the channel loved it. This was so much freaking fun.
Nah, man, the level of adrenaline I was feeling for every situation was real. I was like, yo, I need to take a step back.
This is good stuff.
Nah, bro, you've created Mike. You've created something special with this, man. This stuff is unique. You know, just think of ways to just make the progression, the quality go up. This is sick. This is sick, man. You got.
Well, at the end of the day, it's only as good as the folks that come on and give it the energy that they do. So, you know, thank you guys for doing it tonight. Before we leave, there's only one question that needs to be answered.
Cool.
Only one question that needs to be answered, and that is, Vipe, are you retiring from judging?
You know what? I know you got like regular judges on deck though, but if you ever need an extra body, man, just let me know, bro. Let me know.
Okay.
Ain't no extra body. He wants to know if you won by luck when you won, Joker. Come on,
listen, man. I done told the people, they keep talking about that round that I conceded to you, but I told them, I'm like, listen, man, it shouldn't have even got that far, bro. But we won't talk about that though. We won't talk about that. I'm gonna let you live tonight.
You gonna let me live?
I'm gonna let you live tonight.
Yeah, that's because you're gonna stay out of retirement.
That's right. Retirement is good. That's right. Retirement is good.
Ah, cowards.
How you gonna argue with me from the minivan, bro? You can't argue from the minivan. You need to calm down. Calm down.
So, Viper, are you telling me you can't beat LB inside of a minivan again?
He didn't beat me in the minivan the first time. Yeah, you know,
bruh. It ain't about if I can and will. It's about retirement, and I'm enjoying retired life.
Whoever came up with the whole easy funeral, yeah, I was dying. Oh, fam. I mean, I couldn't breathe. I thought, nah, this whole. I just thought, you know, I'm gonna throw my whole laptop away. This whole thing is just wild.
No, like, the thing that killed me about the funeral is that he used the same thing from that episode of Game of Thrones, man. That killed me every time. I
thought this whole thing was wild. Like the Donkin look, like there's this particular gif Mike uses that looks too much like I'm like, bro, you need to stop using that because every time I see it, I just want to throw my phone away. Like the whole phone needs to go. The whole thing. That's too wild. Too wild. Nah, love, guys, man. Scott, awesome. Much love, bro.
Dude, we need to
link up. We need to talk offline anyway, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Right, well, man. I'm going to say thank you to everybody who came through tonight.
Thank you for having us, man.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you guys.
That we're giving out to the judges. Thank you guys for taking time out of your night to, you know, just decide all of this amazingness that went happen tonight. And also, Ben and Scott, again, thank you guys for being on.
Absolutely.
Scott, I want to say thank you for having the crispiest camera of everybody on this stream right now. Because the chat, I was trying so hard not to bust out laughing at the chat because it was either talking about Scott's hair or Ben's nose. They would not let it go.
Look,
was going in.
Anyone watch my Tech and Chill live streams? This is not a true reflection of me. I promise you. This is the worst time it could have come, right? This is not a true reflection of me. I'm usually crispy. I'm usually crispy.
I knew I had to you know what? I'm coming crispy. I'm coming nice. Like I was so bummed that my audio cut out a little bit. I was like, no, I worked.
I mean, here's my thing though. If we go talk about Scott camera, then we need to know what camera are you using, sir?
I am actually, ironically enough, I am using a Canon T7i with a $75 Yagano lens, 35 millimeter. It's 75 bucks on Amazon right now. I researched the crap out of it. You guys hit me up offline if you want to see it. Like if you have a Canon, I don't use anything fancy. It was a regular T7i. I think it was like $600 on a Black Friday sale a couple of years ago. That's it.
But I mean, it's the model number here is 800D, and that works perfectly good. Dual pixel autofocus.
Yep.
Good 1080p footage, good colors.
The thing about this one though, this particular lens is really loud when you use the autofocus. So, but I have it on manual focus right now, and you guys didn't hear anything.
Yeah, so. the focus and motors on those ones are not all that great.
Yep,
but they do the job. They still work.
All right, guys. Well, everybody, thank you for being here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And I'm going to go ahead and
guys
now. And by the way, so for everyone who's curious, this stream will be available for 48 hours, and then after that, it will be unlisted, and each round will be uploaded as a separate video.
Nice.
So if anybody wants to go and use the video, just send me a message and let me know. But anybody wants to, share the particular round, Ben, if you want to tell everybody this is when I knocked him out, you'll have and Scott, if you want to tell everybody, well, this is when I came back to life, you'll have it up there. So
that was dope.
I'm gonna link to it and then Undertaker that GIF up there.
Yeah. I'll say this is one of the best ones up there, man. I've enjoyed this one. Hopefully the crowd enjoyed it as well, man. Thanks for having us.
All right, guys.
Have a good night, guys.
Everybody have a good night, and I will see y'all later.
We out here.